Good afternoon. Well, good evening. Briefly, I want to speak about the situation with Harry Kane, and then for this video, the title of this video will be "Ambition over Loyalty." And in this case, Harry Kane has clearly decided to let it be known that he wants to, he's requested a transfer to leave Spurs, which isn't a surprise. It's not a surprise at all because Spurs don't look like they're going to be competing in Europe, in Champions League or for trophies. So Harry Kane is in his late 20s. He's pushing 30, so he's going to want to make the move that he can for his career, so that he can look back and have no regrets about not winning any trophies. So yeah, he decided to request a transfer. He basically is putting in a transfer request to leave Spurs, but he wants to stay in the Premier League. So it's likely that I think personally for me, I think the club that he's most likely to go to will be Man City. After that, Chelsea, which will be a bit, which could be a bit treacherous to Spurs fans. But the fact is he's going to leave. He's going to try and seek a move away from Spurs to most likely City. That's if he wants to stay in the Premier League. That's if he wants it, which I suspect that he would want to do because he's closing in on the goal scoring record of Alan Shearer. He wants to be the top goal scorer of all time in the Premier League, and he's closing in on that. I think he has at least 162 goals or around that figure, a bit less or a bit more, but he's certainly closing in on that. And right now, I feel like that's gonna play on his mind as he's making his choice in what club to go to if he's allowed to leave Spurs. And so I think Spurs are gonna want to get a fee in for him because right now they're gonna have to rebuild because they sacked Mourinho and they've given the manager to Ryan Mason, who is younger than some of the players at Spurs, so he's not going to stay there long. The fact is, Harry Kane, he's played for Tottenham for over 6 to 7 years around. I'm not too sure, but I mean he did spend some time on loan at Leicester and other clubs as well. But the fact is, he's in the prime of his life, in the prime of his career, and he needs to win trophies at this time. It's do or die for him, and so he's let it be known to the media that he's leaving Spurs, that he wants to leave Spurs and join a club where he can win trophies. And certainly Man City is the number one option, followed by Chelsea and then Man U. It kind of makes sense for him to go to Man City because the midfield is there, and a player like Kevin De Bruyne will love the fact that he'll be getting assists with Harry Kane just smacking in the goals. And yeah, and clearly without question, Harry Kane has given his all for Tottenham. I think he's won 2 to 3 golden boots for them. He's been the top scorer this season despite a disappointing year for Spurs, where they seem to be playing negative football, but he's scored a lot of goals, and he's gotten a lot of assists as well. So individually, I think Harry Kane has had a good season. Not his best, but he's had a good season. Even though a certain conduct could go against him is the injury record that he has, and I think that may play a part in in whether he can leave this summer or not. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out specifically. But the fact is that he's given, what he can for Spurs. He they managed to get to the Champions League final with Kane. Even though he didn't play a major part in the semi-finals in that, and I think he was coming from injury for that injury as well for the final, and he didn't play well at all. That was probably the biggest chance he had to win a trophy, because that game was a boring game, and so yeah, he didn't play well. In fact, he may have cost Tottenham that trophy in the final, the way he was playing, because he didn't look fit in that final at all. And yeah, so they lost that game to Liverpool 2-0. And that was probably the last achievement milestone of the Spurs manager at the time, Mauricio Pochettino, and then he got sacked the next season. So yeah, and then obviously getting knocked out of competitions doesn't help, losing, just getting knocked out by different clubs that Spurs were expected to beat. I mean, it's not easy trying to win the league, because obviously Spurs were in contention to win the league in 2016, 2017 against Leicester and Chelsea, but that didn't fare well. They lost out, and so a league is not easy to win, but you the leagues expect Spurs to kind of compete and win some, domestic cups like the FA Cup, League Cup, but that hasn't been the case. And so, Harry Kane is 28, 29, he's pushing 30 at least, and he has to kind of make a choice into whether he leaves now, which I think he will. Well, he has to, at least. He's going to have to, because he doesn't want to be, like the best striker, but the best talented striker who couldn't win. That's something that I don't think he wants to be. So, yeah. So he's gonna leave. He's gonna leave. I personally think that you go to Man City and replace Aguero, and yeah, I think it's time to Spurs is done, quite frankly. But I'm sure he's gonna be grateful for, the footstool that it gave him to kind of prove himself as a good player, as a world class striker. So yeah, he's choosing ambition over loyalty, and that's what most athletes do. They want to win, they want to compete, they want to do well for their career, period. And yeah, he's shown a lot of loyalty to Spurs, and I personally think it's going to be time for him. It's time for him to move on. Personally, it's time for him to move on, and I'm sure a lot of other players like Heung-min Son will join him. They will join him in leaving Tottenham, leaving Spurs. So yeah, I think Spurs are going to go through a rebuilding process. They're going to have to. Yeah, so that's all I have to say. Take care and God bless.